CCTV. Ka East West Group of Institution Bangalore, ka khot admission nagamta ka nursing but paramedical course, ka bala ithu da ka Indian Nursing Council, ka buy admission ka badunatam, but she's pa percent ka jinyokam. Pila ru ban apply da ka education loan.
Menteri Kesarkar Jala Bakmi Ikatan Information and Public Relation Uba Lahkmen Rymbui haga kendai trik ujemang arajar punriu lakin tu iginang thok Khubor ke Jala Meghalaya bakin ki Khubor ki badai ki bapimento ki patba Hadien mega social media kla Trei Borbah Hadien COVID-19 hadu baki patba ki mlashu berpenyepher kadu Khubor ke badai bar kadu Khubor ke babakala Uba Rymbui lapan pawai kani habakaran kumukang san haka jingraki yak World Press Freedom Day haka jinglang kablalong Shillong Club Shillong Blapen long ka Shillong Press Club Leshim Bentalang daki officer paginong Trei ka Directorate of Information and Public Relations kinong thok Khubor baki dekat jang Meghalaya Editor and Publishers Association haka ni kasingila sa kilang da Director ka Information and Public Relation uba abi solia ublalong kum usumbot kangsan.
We're all free, everybody's free with democracy, albeit with, certain things that we have to fulfill, things that we ought not to do, and it's not actually total freedom to the point that we take away the freedom of others. I am free, yes, but I cannot take my freedom for granted so that your freedom might be subsequently, curtailed. Everybody's free, so everybody's free in our society, and that goes for us as government servants, as public representatives, as members of the press and the public at large. We're all free, but we have to make sure and be conscious of the fact that we cannot impede or go into that space of the freedom of the other person who's standing next to me, who's sitting close to me, who's 500 kilometers away from me. I think you understand what I'm saying. And the next word is responsible. Yes, that's true. We're all responsible to all our professions, to what we are doing as members of the press. We have to, tell the world news, stories, certain stories that which we think that will excite the public out there as they read or as they go through snippets or reels or stories printed in the form of newspapers. We're like, okay, now this will give us a good traction as far as the public is concerned. And independent press. Yes, we are all independent. Press here is independent, although we work together side by side with as far as journalist welfare schemes concerned, pension, medical reimbursement, etc. Perhaps we'll take another day, another forum to go in length to discuss about these issues. And I would like to say that our minister has taken it upon the responsibility of having a number of meetings, in fact, with the members of the press to address these issues. These issues are dynamic. These issues they keep on, they change day by day. Members of the press, we have issues that which touches them when it comes to certain things that we ought to, how much from the government side, the department or the directorate should be, more helpful, and that the independence of the press, cannot be touched in such a way that it becomes dependent. So that's independent. It should be independent, it should not be dependent. But most of the time, sometimes, perhaps as a department, perhaps as a directorate, we tend to be dependent also. But now the word here is independent, so we shall strive at that.
Each and everybody have the freedom to express themselves, to express their ideas, to express their grievances. So, as I said, I'm very happy that we are living in this society. I'm very happy also successive government that they never use or misuse the press for their own benefit. There is a cordial relationship between the government, the press, between the government and the law enforcing agency, between the government and the legal fraternity, and also the press and with all the traditional head and everybody. So in the context of Meghalaya, what I have seen that we are very fortunate, especially in these days when we have seen all over the world, all over, even in our country also, there are some restrictions and some diktat from somebody that what to be done, what to do and what not to do. Having said that, the role of the press now, it has become very, very important. Because if you remember correctly, that since the time of COVID-19, we have seen that the value of the press is, so to say, slightly coming down. With the advent of social media, and it is very difficult for the people to judge which one is right and which one is wrong. And when we see at the newspaper today, we don't know whether it is a newspaper or a tabloid or just the one of the advertising paper. We don't know. So for all these things, the freedom of press should be used how to inculcate ourselves in this dynamic world to face the changing with the changing of times. Now if we read, there are so many things happen in the state of Meghalaya. I'm not telling that everything is perfect. There are so many things. And we as the government, we as the lawmaker, sometimes we are at that. We don't know the ground realities because the quality, the press, the media, which report to us, there is some sort of disconnect. So what I urge, you have a total freedom in Meghalaya. If you want to build a society which is vibrant, a society which can deliver to the people, you have the freedom to report anything you like as long as it's a fact. But if you want to twist the fact, that is the problem. So reporting of the fact, every government, every agency, every department, they are always welcoming. Because we know the role of the media is the fourth pillar in the society. So it is a duty to see that they give the right information to the people. So in this day, today, I urge upon my media friend, I urge upon, let us try to be dynamic in our thought process and how to face the challenge of this social media, how to face the challenge of misinformation, how to face the challenge of twisting of the fact, so that we could build a society where there is a freedom for everyone, not only for the press, the freedom for the people to express also, without the fact, without anybody, without any hindrance. So, my dear friend, as I said, we live in Meghalaya. As I said, we are not perfect, but we need your freedom to report the fact, to report everything, because otherwise the press fraternity will be taken over by the social media, by the blogger, by something or other. No matter how much the news media which are reported through the media, nobody will look into it if it is more than 10 minutes or 15 minutes. People, they don't have time. But if today's function, if you tell that the Minister of IPR blame the press, this and that report, everybody read that. If you report correctly, nobody. You have to, the heading is very, very important nowadays. And if you look at the reporting today, there is no relation between the heading and the content of the news. But many of the social media, they try to keep the heading without the content. So you as the press, you have the freedom to report the fact, they have the freedom to give the fact to the people. Until unless there is a freedom, we cannot build the strong society. So I wish that all the press fraternity, be the publisher, the editors and the reporters, the journalists, let us work together and keep the true picture of what is the thing we have done and what is the mistake we have committed and how to reform our state, because we are all here answerable to the people of the state of Meghalaya.
Mornings are always busy. Everything feels fast. I hear mom shouting and I'm trying not to be late. Outside, Shillong is already awake. Cars move slowly, horns are loud. It feels like everyone is in a hurry. Then the STEMS bus comes in, bright and yellow, always on time. The caretaker waves and I feel okay. Inside, we laugh and sing. We share snacks, we help each other with homework. It feels nice. My parents know I'm safe through the STEMS app on mom's phone. Because this bus isn't just a ride. It takes us to school with friends and a little bit of hope. This is STEMS, our ride, our future.